What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Senior me back with another video, man. I just want to say, man, hope y'all having a safe and blessed Wednesday, man. Today we finna be reacting to Tay Savage and King Von cause Havoc in prison. Like, this is on how, cause we all know Von was locked up. Let me turn this up a little bit. So like everybody know how Von was locked up like 2014, like for the little case and shit with him and Big Mike and shit. The rat himself, you know what I'm saying? But we gonna react to it, man. It's 17 minutes, man. Damn near 18 minutes. How Tay Savage served a 20-year sentence in 8. Damn. Cause I know Von, like I saw the fights on all over social media, like the leaked fights on how Von, but he used to cause chaos in them jails. Like, he was fighting everybody and shit. He didn't give a fuck. But we finna get right into the video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn that bell. Let's get right into it, yo.
Tay would claim that despite receiving a 20-year sentence for armed robbery, he would only really have to do 10, and ultimately ended up getting out even earlier after just 8 years and 9 months with good behavior and after getting his GED.
10 years. I had a few years in already. I actually got out early because I supposed to just be like yesterday. I supposed to get out like yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, but good time I got my GED in jail and all.
How long?
I had 20 at 50 for armed robbery. They dropped it down to armed robbery with no firearm. They dropped the gun enhancement because it's a 21-year gun enhancement. So now it's a 6 to 30. They gave me 20 at 50. With good time, school and good time and all that. I knocked it down to like 8 years. 8 years, 9 months.
So Tay would truly be able to beat the odds if he didn't get into too much trouble in jail.
True.
Even having to deal with a minimum term of 8 years and 9 months, Tay Savage would be settling into his life in prison for the foreseeable future. And he had been seen in pictures taken behind the wall, seemingly in good spirits. And even his ops from 757 would tweet saying that they missed Tay being on the streets and suggesting that gang life
Free Tay, this shit boring.
is boring when their top op is no longer around. Going on to say free Tay so that they can kill him and that they still have smoke waiting for him when he gets out.
Damn.
Some even suggesting that Tay is Welch World's only hitter and that the beef had died down since he had been incarcerated. But that wouldn't be entirely true.
That's wild.
Would still be taking place on the streets of Welch World while Tay was locked up. On August the 15th, 2014, 25-year-old Walter Neely, known by friends simply as Walt, was out with a friend late at night in Bronzeville going to pick up some milk for his daughter. They were a block away from the Chicago Police headquarters, which would usually be one of the most safe places in Bronzeville. However, Walt was an alleged member of Welch World, and here he was literally surrounded by enemies from almost all directions, with the Avs hood being less than a mile to the south, Lawless's hood being about half a mile to the east, and the Rock Boys about a mile north.
Damn.
While on the street, someone would approach Walt and his friend on foot and begin shooting at them. According to Walt's family, at this point Walt had told his friend to run, while Walt himself seemingly stayed in place, ready to take on the attacker. Unfortunately, sometime later, Walt would be found by the police with a shot to his abdomen. According to the medical examiner, Walt would be pronounced dead about half an hour later in the hospital, but according to his mother, he was already dead on the scene. Afterwards, Welch World members and affiliates would once again pay their tributes on social media. Meanwhile, Walt's family would tell the newspapers how Walt had had a criminal past, but he had since turned his life around and was passionate about drawing art. However, clearly, for the enemies of Welch World, Walt was still very much an active member, and there wasn't a shortage of 757 members dissing him after his death. And as soon as the news was out, 757 members claimed to be smoking Walt and Welch, with some asking if the W that Welch World members were rocking is for Welch or for Walt now, and mocking them, saying that it certainly doesn't stand for winning, given how they were taking losses in the streets. While others were simply implying that they were gathering W's, both literally and figuratively. Some even posted vines saying that they were smoking on Walt. There would also be insinuations that Walt had perhaps been dissing Cess and had even come to his ops hood looking for trouble, like Welch had allegedly done before his death, with his ops comparing the two on Twitter and saying that they went out the same way. These tweets are certainly making 757 look responsible, but despite the close proximity of the murder scene to the police headquarters, it at first seemed like there were no suspects, with posters asking for tips being placed around the neighborhood. However, about a month later, the news would report that 2 teens had been arrested and charged.
2 teens.
Ironically, like Cess and Neef, another boy-girl duo of shooters. These teens were Kenneth Brown and Dreon and grooms, both only 16. Kenneth was known in the streets as Snoop and lived in the Avs neighborhood, not to be confused with the other Snoop from Lawless, who was killed in 2013, and Dre, who lived in the Rock Boys Dearborn Homes projects. After these charges, 757 members would post again, lamenting the arrest of these young gunslingers from their block, even accusing people of snitching, and continuing to diss Walt. Dre and Snoop would seemingly remain locked up while fighting their charges until almost 3 years later in 2017. 757 rapper Munno would give an update that they had actually beaten their charges, receiving not guilty verdicts, and would be coming home. However, a few days later, something had seemingly changed, and it now looked like Snoop wouldn't be getting out at all, even after beating the murder charge. Dre, on the other hand, was freed and welcomed home by other members, and she would eventually get back on social media to celebrate her freedom. But the real shock would come several years later in 2021, when local news and eventually even magazines like Variety would report that Dre's life and fight against these murder charges would be being made into a movie titled after her real name, starring actors like Wunmi Mosaku from HBO series Lovecraft Country. Now, since then, there's been little updates about the movie, which appears to still be in production, but I've got no doubt that there's a lot more to this story, and a gritty movie based on a teenage female shooter from the low end is something I would definitely watch. But anyway, back to the story. Coming into 2015, Welch World would suffer
Me
another
too.
major loss, although this time it would be from their closest ally, OBN, who still ran with Welch World under their 4390 alliance. Boss Rel had barely turned 16, but he was already a well-respected member in both SEPTI alliance. Boss Rel...
Oh, that's that one song. I think I heard. Oh, like I heard that like a while back, but like I ain't really listened to too much of that. Damn, that's crazy.
Turned 16, but he was already a well-respected member in both sets, having been in the streets, getting in trouble since 13.
He was fighting.
Joining a gang at 15, according to his family. Boss Rel was particularly close with the Welch World rapper Lodi Bay, and the two would often be seen together, whether in the streets or the studio. However, according to Rel's family, they had moved away from their old home in the former Ida B. Wells homes to get away from the gang lifestyle, after Rel's older brother had become an unintended victim of gang violence, getting killed by a stray bullet when he was just 13. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough to keep Rel from returning to hang out with his old friends in Bronzeville, which would eventually lead to his death. On the night of the 12th of January 2015, Boss Rel, real name Terrell Campbell, was walking on the OBN's main street, 39th, also known as Pershing Road, when he was reportedly approached by two males who would open fire, hitting Rel several times. He was transported to hospital, but eventually passed away from his injuries. Later, during his memorial, Rel's mother would reportedly struggle to come to terms with the image that the police had painted of her son, claiming that he was actually a hardened gangster who had been terrorizing the neighborhood for years with his friends despite his young age. And unfortunately, the terror suffered by Chicago neighborhoods was only going to increase moving towards 2016, as the murder rate began to rise sharply. 5 months later, in June of 2015, the 757 side would experience a loss that would have a huge impact on them, losing another loved member before they would even see adulthood too. Sunno was another young but well-respected member who had been part of the Rock Boys for years.
Yeah, I heard about him. Like, bro, he get dissed by Timo, bro. He that one rapper, bro. He from what's that one set, bro? I'm trying to fuck, bro. It's trying to click in my head. Like, what the hell that set called? Murder Town. With Curio and them, like, bro, he dissed Sunno like fucking crazy.
Despite being only 17, Sunno could often be seen dissing Welch by dropping the W hand sign, and he was seemingly very close with many members of the AF. Later, some Redditors have also claimed that it was actually Sunno who killed Boss Rel, as well as having killed another member of Welch World. In the summer of 2015, violence was rising in the city of Chicago once again, and in the early morning hours of Saturday the 6th of June, Sunno and his 757 friends were out at a party in the Bridgeport neighborhood close to their Dearborn homes stomping grounds. However, after they left the party, around 2 a.m., an SUV reportedly pulled up next to their car and let off shots. They would drive away for a short moment before two males exited the vehicle wounded. The police would find Sunno, real name Richard Edwards, unresponsive after being hit by a bullet in the armpit. Sunno would die at the scene, and his lifeless body would be left covered with a white blanket until detectives could finish their investigation, leaving his mother, who had arrived at the scene, devastated, unable to hold her.
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
Hold her son, and video of the absolutely devastating scene as Sunno's mother is being held back was captured and posted on Twitter by a news journalist.
Man, that's why, like, man, man, like before, man, you gotta get your kids out there, like, away from that shit before it's too fucking late, man. Now she ain't gonna never see her son again, man.
The loss of Sunno hit 757 hard, and already later that morning, rapper Munno would tweet a tribute to his friend, Vowing Revenge, and others would follow, even reminiscing of a time when they had slid through their ops hood, including Welchworld. And seemingly only a few days after Sunno's death, they had renamed their hood Sunnyside in his honour, a name that many of the rock boys would primarily represent for years to come. By 2016, the violence had truly erupted in Chicago. Whether the rise and popularity of drill music was influencing the violence is a question that academics continues to research for years to come. But what we do know for sure is that in 2016, Welchworld would lose yet another member, and this time it would be one of their only rappers, Lodi Bay. Lodi had been dropping songs and music videos for years at this point, all the way from 2011 when he was just a kid, although he was seemingly never fully committed to just rapping, usually dropping a few music videos each year, such as the music videos
We got views though.
Off
Bro, he racked 2 million views, bro. Like, what the hell? Bro, he was up there, bro. What the fuck? Bro, I was not bro, like, I thought the video was gonna have like 50k views, but damn, that shit got 2.7 million, bro. That's fucking impressive.
music videos
Yeah.
each year, such as the music videos for the track Soldier with Boss Rel and for the track Off Top Freestyle in 2014, the Welchworld and OBN Anthem
With the gang.
as well as the now ominous I'ma Die This Way in 2016. All of these songs typically included many disses aimed towards the ops of Welchworld, particularly the sets in 757. The deadly year of 2016 was almost over.
Christmas Day.
And friends gathered for Christmas in the Chatham neighborhood. They were gathered in front of a house to shoot dice when someone in a grey hoodie came through the alley.
Shooting dice. What the fuck?
Gathered in front of the house, hitting numerous people. The shooting would leave 5 people wounded, some in critical condition, but it would unfortunately kill both Lodi and his brother. This event would truly showcase the brutality of violence that had taken over the city, where savages
Can't even fucking celebrate Christmas and shit. God dang, bro. You can't celebrate shit in Chicago, boy. Oh, hell no.
spending their Christmas day
For real.
and not having second thoughts about shooting into large crowds of people just to catch their target. This senselessness and lack of hope was reflected in the comment that Lodi's sister gave to the news, saying that the shootings in Chicago don't even require a reason. And moving into 2017,
They don't,
disrespect
but
would still fly between these groups of bitterly at war gangs. Friends of Neef like Moneyman would still be dissing Welch in songs throughout 2017. In fact, during these violent years when Tay Savage was locked up, several rappers would emerge from 757 affiliated sets and build budding rap careers in the Chicago drill scene. People like Gunsmoke Gutter, 757 Wooski, 757 Munno, and 757 BA, just to name a few. It wasn't just 757 going hard against Welchworld in music, as even 051 Young Money, the other set that had a long-standing beef with Welchworld, used their music to disrespect Welch.
bro, 051, they got beef for everybody in the fucking city, bro. What the fuck? They got beef for everybody, bro. They got beef for O Block, 600, THF, 800. They got beef for FBG, Tukaville and them. They got beef for everybody. God damn. They got beef with, yeah, bro, I can't name no other set that's beefing with them, bro. That's a lot of fucking beef.
With Driller's infamous Chicago anthem, 51 Dead Ops,
Yup.
featured a lyric where he wants his ops don't get welched. However, no matter how treacherous the beef between them and their rivals got in the music or the streets, Welchworld's biggest target and threat,
Tay Savage.
remained behind bars, unable to influence things on the streets during these years. But Tay's beefs wouldn't just be active on the outside, because inside jail, despite being on his best behavior in the hopes to get an early release, Tay would still be getting into fights, with a minute-long scuffle later surfacing online in a jailhouse surveillance video that showed 2 people fighting on the upper deck. Fans would even see post-fight analysis from Tay and the man he was fighting in the form of jailhouse interviews on camera.
Mr. Timberlake, what happened upstairs? Why wouldn't you stop fighting when I told you to? Fight? Yeah. Okay, do you want protective custody? Do you wish to press charges? Do you wish to press charges against Mr. Bird? On inmate Bird? Okay, that's great. Thank you, sir. Mr. Bird, why were you and the other inmate fighting? Just playing, you weren't fighting? Why didn't you separate when I gave you loud verbal orders to separate?
I ain't wanna get slammed.
Okay. Do you wish to press charges?
No.
Do you want protective custody?
No.
Thank you very much, sir.
They said that shit quick as hell.
Activity taking place both inside and outside the prison walls, it would seem that while in jail, Tay was still trying to keep a positive mindset. Tay would claim to have gained maturity in prison, claiming to have even tried to mentor other youngsters who were in there facing murder charges who he met inside.
Because you went in and you were like super young when you first started that bid, and it's like you're becoming a man as time goes by in there. Just you felt yourself growing up a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Then I started seeing young guys coming in like 16, 17, 18. It's crazy. And they wild like I was. I try to holler at them so they can, like, but you know they ain't trying to. They trying to. They own what they own. But I was still trying to blow them like chill. Because look, I beat those murders. You know what I'm saying? And that's a blessing. But it's guys that didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I be talking to them guys like, man.
Where is she? Tyler Perry's Sisters returns tonight at 9.
They said wizardry only appears in fairy tales. But when you arrange,
It's crazy. I ain't doing what I do, whatever. It's crazy. But you know, it's like you stuck. Like you stuck in her. So now it's like
Interestingly enough, one of the people Tay would
Why?
cross paths with in prison was none other than
Drop
the
on his
former
flexing
drug
nigga.
dealer and killer King Von. Tay claimed to have originally met King Von in prison around 2011, where they became good friends, and people began to compare them to each other from the very start.
Because people always compare you to Vaughn and say that, like, you know, they sort of see the similarities in you guys' personalities or your background.
And you wanna know what's crazy? They said that when I first met him. We was on in Division 6 on school wing. The deck had went up or whatever. No, the deck didn't go up. Something happened, they moved me. They just moved me to the next deck. And then Vaughn came. And they was like, man, this dude on the next deck that remind me of you. And his name Vaughn, he from the O. Yeah. So now I see him, I'm like, really see it, but I'm like, alright, cool. I get to rotate with him. I'm like, yeah, I like this little dude. So we get to chopping it up. We get locked. We just locked.
So you and Vaughn relationship came from being inside jail.
That's why I met him at. But some of the guys knew him already, like from my area. But you know, Vaughn was a little younger than me. So some of the guys.
Oh, okay. So like 2011, Vaughn was like 2011. He was like what, 16, 17? I think he was like 17. So Tay was like 18 at the time. Tay was cause like he just said Vaughn was a little younger than me, so he probably like was like 2 years younger than him or some shit. I don't know what the fuck.
They knew Vaughn. So
Tay would end up crossing paths with Von during his 20-year sentence, even claiming that Von had told him about his plans to become a rapper.
You were in there with King Vaughn?
yeah, we never was out at the same time, but we always be like exchanging words. Or I get out here, you know what I'm saying? But we always keep communication.
And he gets out and blow up.
He said he's gonna do it though.
He
he's
said
gonna
that?
do it. Yeah. He said he's gonna do it. Raps was weak as hell when he first came out. In jail, weak as hell. He's finished it on the gallery. I'm like, bro, is you for real? Yeah. Oh, watch this. He did it.
Tay and Von would keep in touch, and Tay would even post a handwritten letter that Von had sent him while in jail, with Von even drawing the Welch World W next to the O Block O, writing,
Right in the state bill. What's her name? Maria something. When Marco come back to the county on some real day, whenever I touch and I come up and get right, I'll make sure you and every like us straight. Oh no, it's only a few.
Uh-oh.
You better go ahead and start working out, cause I can merge it. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat you, and I'm cocking it. I'm knocking flat
This
out.
man.
You my boy though, so I ain't even on that. But I love you, broski. Keep your head up, cause he's be quick to try to snake you. Free to real loyalty is everything. Loose lips sink ships from a stretch.
Loose lips sink ships.
AKA Von Savage. AKA King Von.
ultimately, as the years went past, Tay would get closer and closer to
Hey, that was a dope ass shit though, like dope ass letter.
mugshots and prison pictures surfacing in each year leading up to his release. In
Why you look like Fredo?
Welch World members
Fuck?
boast that Tay is coming home soon, and his May 2021 mug
Bro, he look like fucking Fredo, bro. What the fuck? He look like Fredo Santana in this right here. How the fuck, bro? Like, I know I'm not the only one that fucking don't see that shit.
the final image of Tay to release before the man himself. Meanwhile, outside in the streets of Chicago, violence was showing no signs of slowing down, making 2021 the deadliest year in Chicago since the mid-90s. This would also be felt in the low end, where the situation was indeed starting to resemble a 90s gang war, and one of the parties particularly taking a losses was 757. In February 2021, they would suffer an enormous loss when one of their most loved and respected members,
Gunsmoke
and one of
Gutter.
their first major rappers, Gunsmoke Gutter, real name Keontae
He was one of their first rappers? Oh shit, I didn't even fucking know.
Gregory Mollett, would be gunned down in the Grand Crossing neighborhood. The loss of Gutter hit 757 hard, and in the years to come, they have often mentioned him in their music, usually making it clear they don't play about his name at all. But then, only a month later, another major tragedy would strike, when another key player in 757 would lose his life in a crash-out mission by his ops that was so brazen that it would baffle even the most devoted followers of Chicago drill culture, who at this point had gotten used to pretty much anything. A member called Big Folks, real name
Big Folks.
Davis, was standing in line at a driver's license facility in the middle of the day when two men would approach him and start shooting, hitting him several times, which would eventually lead to his death after he was rushed to hospital. Meanwhile, the two assailants would escape in a getaway car, but would later ditch that car, attempting to carjack a Tesla, only to find themselves unable to figure out how to start it. The two men were soon arrested, and they would be identified as Matthew Givens and Cortez Hudson, who were better known in the streets as Lil Matt from OBN and Cortez from MTG 039.
To a crime alert,
Mm.
2 people have been charged in connection to a fatal shooting outside a driver's license facility in suburban Chicago. Matthew Givens of
Suburban
Cortez
Chicago,
Hudson
bro.
of Oak Park were both denied bail. The men are charged with first-degree murder in the death of 21-year-old Juan Davis. Prosecutors say that Givens and Lansing were members of a street gang who targeted Davis because he was a member of a rival gang.
Their actions that day became even more absurd when it was revealed that Cortez's 6-year-old little brother was in the car with them when they arrived at the scene of the murder. The loss of Big Folks and Gutter were a heavy burden to carry for 757, but unfortunately, they weren't the only ones who lost their lives in 2021. But eventually, 2022 would roll around, and finally, Tay Savage the Bully was released back onto the streets of Welchworld. And it wouldn't take him long to realize that with his reputation in the streets, in the modern era of gangster rap and drill music, his backstory would be irresistible to fans of violent drill music. He would begin his transformation from Trigger Happy Tay to Tay Savage, the rap star.
Damn, man. Yo, rest in peace to everybody in this video, man. What the fuck? Man, rest up Vaughn, rest up Sunno, everybody who died in this video, man. From both sides, you know what I'm saying? Just hearing that shit, like, just hearing how him and Vaughn clicked up, like, that shit, like, it really touched me, like, to know that they really, like, I don't know how to say it, like, I know, like, they both did fucked up shit. I mean, everybody do fuck up shit. Like, everybody fuck up, I fuck up, everybody fuck up. Like, we all human, bro. Like, but like, get the fuck off my screen. But, like, damn, man. Like, it's so crazy how, like, man, like, it's so crazy how, like, the violence just be spewing. Every year, that shit just keeps on going. Like, fucking piling up, man. Let me know what y'all think of this video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn that bell, man. Hope you have a safe and blessed Wednesday, man. And I'm out, man. Peace.